What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
Yeah.
Take me out.
What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on, y'all? We back. Another episode of the Fiyah session. Y'all already know how it goes. Y'all already know.
We here. We in there like swimwear. We good.
Yeah. Another episode. You know, we got a special guest with us today. We're gonna get into that in just a minute. But I gotta check on my guy Benji Banks, the man, the brand. How you doing, my brother?
What's going on, my man? You know how we do, man. Walking, trying to do both and chew bubble gum at the same time, trying to make it all happen, man. We're missing the queen tonight, though. We missing Patricia. We're missing her. Shout out to her for her little birthday shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Cool. But it's been a crazy week leading up to this week. But, man, God is good. God makes it happen, man. Yeah. I should be in testimony service right now, testifying, because he always doing something good. So.
Yeah, he always doing something good, but that's the reason why they removed that from most churches too, because people tell too much of their business.
Yes, man. I know I probably told this story before, but let me tell y'all this story real quick. See, I'm a church boy. I've been 19 till I was in my late 30s. You know what I'm saying? But I remember this one time in service, man. See, this is why pastors took testimony service out, y'all. This lady, it was nighttime. We was at testimony service, letting the ladies talk, letting the brothers talk. And this lady got up, man, and talked about how coffee makes her horny. And, bro, she was saying too much. And she got a lot of coffee invites from the church that night. Folks just be telling all their business. You know what I'm saying? So it was hilarious, bro. I'll never forget it. And it taught us a very valuable lesson as young ministers.
Yeah,
Take the mic.
Yeah, I bet she did get some invites. And man, I mean, people used to tell the craziest stuff during testimony, service. They get up and they, tell about the goodness of the Lord, but they tell about the goodness of the Lord blessing them and they bunions removed. And they got 2 corns removed this week, and they was able to salvage that pinky toe, and it's stuff like that. It's like, okay, come on, people. Like, we're not minimizing what God does for you, you know what I'm saying? Because that's still a blessing, because your feet ain't hurting no more. But we don't want to hear about that at church.
Yeah, we don't want to hear about your bunions, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell us, you know what I'm saying? He paid the mortgage, and he sent checks in the mail. He sent a check. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, they ain't gonna tell you that, because a lot of them looking for the church to pay their mortgage for them.
They know the pastor gonna ask for that tithe money, huh? Oh, yeah. You got a check, huh? The Lord blessed you, huh?
Where's the 10? Where's the 10%?
You know what I'm saying? Can I get my 10%? See, I come from one of them old school preachers. He was like, you got to get more than your 10%. You get your 10% of your money, but you got to get your time and all of that. So it was a little,
And then you got these churches that when you pass the plate or when you do the offering, if we could get y'all to give, each member to give an additional $10, we'll meet our goal. That's when you be like, you know what? I left something in the car. Let me.
You know what? I think I'm fresh out of business cards. Let me go to my car real quick.
I'm gonna run to my car real quick. I'll be right back. Sister Jones standing at the door like, Look at you.
See that we come from that space where the ushers didn't allow movement, bro. You couldn't get up. So
that's when you try to get up out of there.
Hey, wasn't happening. That
$10 you asking me for about to go in the gas tank. You know what I'm saying? So I can't gonna be able to do it. I can't
give you this right now. You know what I'm saying? I can give you $1.50 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna work this out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, though, right?
Facts. That's why we got the pink flames in the background supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I know a lot of survivors, you know what I'm saying? And big shout out to them and the journey that they've been through and the people who are going through it presently. And also, fellas, do not think that you can't get breast cancer. You too can get breast cancer, so watch yourselves. You know, if you start having symptoms, anything in your chest, feeling something weird, hit the doctor, man.
Go to the doctor, man. Go to the doctor. I usually have my every 6-month checkup, and I went last couple of weeks. I went, checked out my doctor, made sure I was good. Blood pressure, systolic, diastolic, normal. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Get your mental health check. Get your whole body check, get your blood check. Make sure you're straight out there, man. I do it every 6 months. I get 2 physicals a year. So got to do it, man. Go check on yourself. Make sure you're good, man. You only get one body. Go check on yourself, man. Make sure you're good. You know, especially some of y'all be wilding out in these streets. You know what I'm saying? You need to go get yourself checked out. You know what I'm talking about?
You only get one body, but some of y'all been with a lot of bodies, so you definitely need to go get checked out.
That body count. You know what I'm saying? Now, I read a study that the average woman has had 26 partners in her life.
Here you go. You trying to get us in trouble because
listen, man. We search for topics, so we gotta read up on stuff, figure this out, figure that out. See, but okay, I'll say this. It did say that for the most part, most people lie about their body count, but I'll give them that.
Of course, nobody's ever going to tell you the complete body count. They're only going to tell you a few or a fraction of it. They're not going to they're not going to say 58. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell you, 12 or 13 possibly. But hey, let's talk about this real quick. Why would you even be asking that? We talked about that on the show. Why would you even be asking somebody's body count? The only thing you need to be concerned about is if the person is healthy, if they take all of their tests, and that, saying they got a clean bill of health. That's it.
That's my perspective. You get what I'm saying? I'll say this though. It did have the brothers at 19. So ladies, y'all doing some stuff out there. We're going to give you the Kimbe Mutombo finger wave. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, my thoughts exactly, bro. I don't want to know your body count. All I want to know is if you healthy, you straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we mingling, you know what I'm saying? We straight. I don't want to know about Foom, Leroy from down the street, Elroy at your job. I don't want to know about all of them. I don't want to know about that.
All he want to know is if y'all mingling, you won't leave him tingling.
That's it. I don't want to know. I just don't. Take me out to dinner.
Y'all, speaking of insurance, you know what I'm saying? We got a special guest today that is coming to give us some information and education on something that's very important. We talked about health insurance just now and the necessary, things that come along with that, but we want to talk about life insurance today because every time we talk about life insurance, it has this dark cloud of, you know what I'm saying? Like we talking about death. And it doesn't always have to be about that, right? I mean, eventually we all gonna leave here. Right. So, I mean, that's inevitable. But you make sure that when you do leave here, that you don't leave, you know what I'm saying, your people that you're leaving behind, you know what I'm saying, a trail.
Without no ends, man. How you gonna leave the children with no ends, man?
Yeah,
even Charleston White crazy behind said his daddy left him like $20,000. You know what I'm saying? So
well, that's the biggest thing too, man. A lot of people, saying outside the Black community, and that's been something with them a long time where they leave their kids something instead of debt or instead of something that they can't handle. They leave them, and that's where the wealth starts. You know what I'm saying? With that lump sum of money that they get from the insurance, and then they, take that money and then they build on it.
Right.
A lot of us, you know what I'm saying, we leave the earth and people running around with a GoFundMe trying to figure out how to pay for
to make it happen. We want to erase that, man. We want to give y'all some info today, so y'all ain't got to be hitting up Facebook for them GoFundMe accounts. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to do something substantial. We want to give you this info, man.
facts. So we brought on a good guy I've been knowing for a long time, solid guy, great information. We got Mr. Donta Williams joining us today. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, man, how you doing? How you doing, Ken? How you doing, Benjamin? Thank y'all for having me on the show today.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you on, man. We're gonna chop it up a little bit. We're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna get this dope information out there. You know what I'm saying? But most of all, we're gonna pick at you a little bit. You know what I'm
That's all
saying?
right.
Find
Okay.
out what set you're claiming and all that type of stuff.
Hey,
Okay.
I will say y'all had me rolling before you brought me in, man, with the whole with the rhymes that Ken was doing, man. I never heard those phrases, but they were pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll be making that stuff up off the top of my head, man. But the funny thing is, before we even get started, I'm gonna tell y'all something in the background. You know, me and Benji always got some stories to go with a lot of the people that we bring on the show. This background for me is different because I met Donta when we were 12 years old. So I've been knowing this dude for 30 years. So you know, for us,
You just said you was old, bro.
hey, you know what I'm saying? It's a blessing. It's a blessing, man. You know, I can't hate on that. Like I said, we've been knowing each other for 30 years, man. And it's funny because we were talking before the show about the I have stories of trouble with Donta and with Benji. So it's safe to say I've been getting in a lot of trouble my whole life. So this is
Yes.
stuff.
Listen, trouble kind of finds you, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always in trouble. It's my total marketing brand, you know what I'm saying? So if you see me in trouble, just know it's purposeful.
Yeah, it's good. It's good trouble. It's good trouble.
That's right.
All right. So Donta, life insurance broker, man. Tell us about your background, man. Where you from? Like, what's your education background? Like, how did you even get to the life insurance field? Just start with that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, grew up here, Dallas, Texas, man. Grew up, man, Oak Cliff Park, you know.
Shout out to the Cliff.
Yeah, man. Ended up, you know, shout out to Kimball High School. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of, you know, I learned a lot of things up at that school, man. And you know,
we learned a lot of things at school.
Oh man, survival is one of them because there was some big guys walking around there, man, and they always had a chip on their shoulder, man. I sit up, man, and visit these high schools now, and I be like, these ain't tough guys, man. They jeans are so skinny and all this stuff. These guys don't even look intimidating. But when me and Ken was in school, yeah, them guys, it's some guys you didn't want to see in the alley if you wasn't from where they was from.
Folks come from the hood, man. Like we was surviving, and they sent us to school to get us out the house. You know what I'm saying? Get away. You know what I'm saying?
Get away, man. And but yeah, man, just grew up at Oak Cliff, just a regular guy, man. But one thing I did see though, you know, growing up and attending that school, man, I knew that I wanted something more, man, because I used to see a lot of people, man, that you know came from impoverished backgrounds, or they had a lot of things going home when they got home. And I was fortunate enough not to really have to go through that too much. And I wanted to always keep that going, man, you know. So my mom used to always tell me, hey, you know, when you get out of high school, you're going to do, you know, one or two things. You're either going to go to college or you're going to get a job. You're going to get up out of here. So after high school, man, I ended up, man, I enlisted in the Army because thought about going to college, man, but I took a pre-assessment exam, and during that pre-assessment exam, I figured out that college wasn't going to be the route for me. When they brought the grades out, I was like, you know what? That might not be the route for me. I might have to go.
You didn't get a 2 on that joint or something, did you? What happened, man?
It wasn't that low, but I figured out very early, nah, I need to figure out another way, man. So ended up going to the military, man. Did that for about 8 years, man. Shout out to everybody in the Army, Fort Hood, Texas. You know, spent most of my time out there. You know, did that, and then when I, you know, did my little stint in the Army, just ended up coming back, man, and working the 9 to 5 like everybody else, man. But I learned some things in there that helped me be more marketable and more presentable for the workforce. And it's gonna be funny, man. I fell into life insurance, man. I've been in life insurance now for about 10 years, man. About 10 years. Maybe a little bit longer than that. I got my license back in 2010. So maybe close to about 12 years. And it was crazy how I found this terrific opportunity in this lucrative career. I wasn't even thinking about getting into life insurance, man. I was a delivery driver for Ozarka Water. And one day I just went into this office building, man, and it looked like these guys were in there having fun. And I just spoke to one of them. I was like, man, what are y'all doing up in here?
Right.
And man, this guy named Jeremy Patton, man, shout out to Jeremy Patton, man, Patton Financial Group, man. That guy changed my life, man. He pulled me to the side, man. He said, man, I thought you never asked.
Right.
And it was a chance opportunity. It was my first time and only time going to that office, man. Some just told me to ask him, man, what are y'all doing up in here? And a couple of days later, we met at a Starbucks, man, and he showed me the plan on how to, make money in the life insurance industry, man. And I haven't looked back since. Haven't had a boss ever since.
What's funny is usually everybody, for the most part, that we interview, they were into something else, and then kind of as they went along, they found their passion as they went. And that's kind of interesting that you kind of reiterated that as well, because most of us, we just out here trying to make it, and certain things we didn't even have on our mind, and then we find it, and then we run with it once we find it.
Yeah, man, I ran with it, man, and I'd like to say, man, in my career, man, I've done a lot of things, man. In my short insurance career, I've been a lot of places that a lot of people haven't been, man, and I've made some pretty good money in it, and I've had a lot of freedom with it as well. And I've had a chance to travel the world being in this insurance game. So I like it, man, and I'm ready to share my knowledge with everybody, man, and answer any questions anybody have, man. But I enjoy it. I love it.
For sure. I think the freedom part is a big part of what we hear from a lot of entrepreneurs, because that's what they talk about mainly, is the freedom of being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And I caveat, put a star by that, an asterisk by that, because it's not as simple as that all the time, as what you want to do when you want to do. But because it's a lot of people don't understand too, being an entrepreneur requires a lot more work than a 9-to-5. When you get off a 9-to-5, you're done. When you're working for yourself, you got to get that done.
Very true.
That is so true, man. One thing about it, man, guy that mentored me in his life insurance, his name is Jerome Guillory. He told me, you got to treat this, you got to treat it like a job, man. You either need to be prospecting on the or selling or on the phone trying to set appointments, man. And that's what we have to do all the time, man. Because one thing about it, when you do get that freedom, you can get distracted real easy, man. And I fell into that. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that, this whole time I've been in the game that, I've been disciplined, because there's been times where, the freedom do get the best of you, but you just gotta reel yourself back in, man, when you and get back focused, But I don't know no other industry in the world, man, where you could be down to your last $100 in your bank account, and then in 2 days later be up, $2,500. So there's nothing in the world like this insurance industry, legally.
Sure.
I don't think.
Yeah, he said legally.
legally. Yeah, that's yeah.
We got one question from Walt Patterson on YouTube. Said, does it take much capital to get involved into the insurance business?
No, man. That's one good thing about it. It's not really. It doesn't really take a lot. All it takes, man. It took about a good $200, and you don't even have to spend the $200 up front. You gotta pay for your study material, and after you pay for study material, you just pay for your exam for the state of Texas, and once you pass that, then you just pay for your license. But the thing is, one thing about me, the route that I took that some other agents may not have took is I took the route where I don't have to really hound my friends and family about life insurance. Okay. Ken could probably count on one hand, maybe 2 fingers on how many times. I don't even know if I even maybe once I asked you about it, but I don't hound my friends and family about it because the industry is so good where, you have thousands of people on that request insurance, and you could just buy leads of people who are actually interested in it.
That's pretty dope. One of the questions I wanted to ask is, what are the different types of life insurances?
Okay, man, that's a good question. That's a good question right there. Well, basically, it's really only two types of life insurance. You got your term life insurance, and then you got your permanent life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's positives and negatives of both kinds. So we'll start off with the term life insurance, right? So when I say the word term, that means that you're only going to keep this policy for this set price for a specific number of years, whether it be 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 years, right? The positive of term life insurance is very affordable, right? The premiums on it aren't very high, and you can get a really big face amount for a small premium. Just to give an example, 25-year-old male, I could probably get him about $300,000. Might not even cost him $30 a month without an exam, right? But there is some negatives of term life insurance because, after that specific term period ends, now that's when the insurance company is going to be like, okay, well, now we're going to raise your premium up because this was just temporary. You just had this temporary, right? So it's positive and negatives for term, but it's a great vehicle, especially for people who are young and who have mortgages. It's great for people who have mortgages, or term insurance is great for people with young kids in the house and you want to have a big amount of money to leave if you leave this earth prematurely. Term is a great way to go. And then you got whole life, right? But inside of whole life, there's different types of insurance inside of whole life. Well, permanent. I'm sorry.
Perm life, yeah.
Permanent insurance. You got your.
But they are the same though, right? We're talking whole life insurance, permanent insurance. Are they the same? Are we talking the same lingo there?
Yeah, they're you can think of them as the same, because permanent insurance is a policy that's designed to cover you for the rest of your life. Okay. But under the perm umbrella, there's different types of insurance under that umbrella. You got your whole life insurance, you got your universal life insurance, and you got your index universal life insurance, and then you got your variable life insurance. So all four of those work a little bit differently. To give you a quick breakdown, whole life, when you think of whole life insurance, it's just you remember when your grandmother or somebody in your family, the insurance man, come by and pick up the premiums, you know what I'm saying, from your grandmother, and that right there is typically a whole life policy, just something to help pay the final expenses when they pass away. When people call me and ask me, hey, can I put a policy on my brother? Can I put a policy on my mom or my dad? Typically, I'm going to write a whole life insurance because they're just looking for something to help pay the final expenses so that burden won't be on them when their loved one passes away.
Okay.
And then you got your universal life and your index universal life. Those can be set up as investment grade life insurances, where you can actually set those up in a way where when it's time for you to retire, you can retire totally tax free. And those are one thing I want to back up and say, when I say permanent insurance, all of those build cash value.
Okay, right. And you can go, how high can you go on a whole life permanent insurance in terms of years? Are we talking cap at 30 years? Are we talking 40 years? What are we talking about?
Well, the thing about permanent life insurance, like I say, is designed to cover you for the rest of your life. So most traditional whole life policies, they cover you till you reach age 121. Now, I know you're thinking, people don't even live that long.
Now Methuselah would have outlived that. But 121 for Negroes in this day and age? Yes.
121, man. And that's another thing why whole life insurance costs the most, because it's priced for you to live to 121. But like I know, people ain't really making it that long. So So that's when we come with the universal, like the regular universal life insurance. If I set that up properly, I could have that to where a person I can have it where it lasts you till you reach age 100. So that gives you permanent protection till you reach age 100. And then even if you make it to 100, you got your cash value that you can fall back on, if the policy expires. So it's a lot of different
variables
ways we can do this.
Now, with that, in terms of the amounts, where do we go amount wise? Can you set it? Does the broker set it? How does that work in terms of, is it based off what you can qualify for, or how does that work?
That's a good question, Benji. So the way it works is when I sit down with a client, I can get you whatever you want. If you're looking for a $500,000 policy, I can get you a $500,000. You're looking for a $250,000 policy, I can get that for you. But it really depends on what a person can, one, qualify for and afford. Because the way that they do it is these insurance companies, they price it off of your age and your health.
Right.
Now, most of the policies that I write, we don't have to take exams, right? I rarely have a person give a blood exam. If anybody's listening to me and you got an agent trying to get you to take a physical exam for a life insurance policy, you may want to rethink that, because taking an exam for a life insurance company is a lot different than taking an exam for your doctor. Because I know, have you guys ever heard those commercials talking about James got $400,000 for $12 a month type deal?
Yeah.
that's just the bait and switch. Because what that is, they're trying to get you to come in, call them, so they can set up an exam. And when that nurse comes out, if they find anything wrong with you, your triglycerides may be off that day because you had some fried chicken 2 days ago, or your cholesterol might be elevated a little bit. The insurance company is going to take that and use that against you, and they're going to raise your premium up sky high. So that's why I specialize in simplified issue insurance, where you just answer a few health questions. If you can say no to those health questions, they'll issue the policy. There's no health. There's no waiting period. It goes into effect immediately.
I like that. I like that. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's a lot more simpler that way, because when you're doing the exam, that could take months before that policy gets approved. And believe it or not, there's a lot of unhealthy people out here, and there's a lot of people that tried to go the exam route, but then the insurance company found that they had something wrong with them, and now that messes them up from getting a simplified issue insurance.
Now, let me ask this. If let's say that they go get an exam for a particular life insurance, find something's wrong, they don't necessarily have to sign the policy, correct? They can back off from it. Does that affect them from going somewhere else, getting a different policy, or how does that work?
100%. I have people right now that pull my hair. I'm like, man, you should have called me before you took that exam. Because when you take that exam, the insurance company, they use what's called the MIB, the Medical Information Bureau. Whatever they find from that exam, it goes straight to the Medical Information Bureau, and that can affect you from getting simplified issue insurance. So when I'm sitting with a person that's thinking about getting taking an exam for a policy, I'll say, hey, you know what? Let's try to apply for this simplified issuing first. Once that gets approved, great. Then we'll do the exam. If the exam don't come back as good as we think, at least you can fall back on a simplified issue policy. Because if we do it the other way, you may not be able to get another policy. And so you can literally screw yourself up by not knowing what you need to do. I got a guy that called me 2 weeks ago trying to get an insurance policy. He messed around and took the exam before he called me, found out something was wrong with his kidneys. Now he can't even get a policy he can't even get a policy that'll go into effect the first 2 years. He's going to have to have a 2-year waiting period, and he's young too. And I'm like, man, if you'd have just called me before you let them stick you with that needle, man, I could have helped you out.
Wow.
Whew. That's heavy, man. I think a lot of people, they didn't know that, because I definitely didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I
Yeah.
definitely didn't know that. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely great information. Cause see, y'all, this is why we have people on the show to talk about this stuff, because y'all fall into these traps of the glorified stuff, or the stuff that you may know about, and you just jump in feet first because this is what your grandma did and this is what your mama did, but they didn't have this information that we're giving y'all. So now you can make informed decisions instead of just doing what people did before you. Now you can be smart about the decisions you actually make.
And some of these commercials are designed to just get you in there without giving you much info. So it's like you said, the bait and switch. That's the bait. We want you to jump in it because we can get you something. Now, this is the question I have. What questions would you suggest a first timer ask? So let's say I'm a first timer and I'm coming to you, and I'm a novice. I don't know what's going on. What questions would you suggest that they ask you from your expertise point of view?
Well, if they're interested in getting a policy, one thing, well, it's really what I would ask them. I mean, because if somebody was coming to me trying to get a policy, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, what is this? What is the purpose of this life insurance? Okay. Is it for income replacement? Is it for debt reduction? Is it just to help pay for final expenses? Is it for a transfer of wealth? I'm gonna ask them what is the purpose of this insurance, and then once they tell me that, then I'll get to asking them, well, how's your health? How's your health? How, or how things, are you taking a lot of medications and things like that? And then I ask them what their budget is. Mm-hmm. And then I get into, seeing if they have, young kids at home. Most of the time, if I'm talking to somebody and they got, decent health, you can have some ailments. You can have blood pressure. You can be a diabetic. You can have, some mental illnesses. It's some things you can have and still get a good policy. Okay. But if I'm sitting with somebody and I see that they got young kids, especially kids, under the age of 10, I'm probably going to suggest, and it's their first time trying to get some life insurance, I'm probably going to suggest them get a term policy. Because see, with that term policy, I can get them $200,000-$300,000, you know what I'm saying, without an exam, for if something happens to them, their family will be straight, right? Legacy will be protected. And then another good thing why we do that is the premiums are going to be kind of low. So that kind of gets a person in the habit of making their monthly premiums. Right. And after they've done that for about a year, then we can always convert it to a permanent type of policy where they can have they can have protection for the rest of their life and also build cash value, where if they ever found themselves in a jam or in a hole or needed some money for an unexpected expense, where they can go borrow it from their life insurance policy.
So what would you suggest for a 40-year-old African-American male? That person's coming to you. What would you suggest immediately off the top to a 40-year-old African-American male?
Well, does he have children?
That would be a good question. Yes. Let's say he has 2 children.
Okay. If he has 2 children, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably show him a 20-year term. I'm going to probably show him a 20-year term to start out, but also I'm going to show him a universal life policy as well. That way, if he can afford, or if the universal life fit his budget, then of course that'll be the way to go. Because see, with the universal life, I structure it in a way where it'll cover you, till you reach age 100, and it builds up cash value. And the premium never changes. So if a person could afford the universal life, that would be the way to go. But if it's their first time, and the universal, because we're talking the difference of premium for a 40-year-old male between a term and a universal life, we may be talking a difference of maybe $30 to $50 in premium for the universal life versus the term.
Okay.
So, but if he can swing the universal life, that'll be the way to go, man, because he got permanent coverage forever, building up cash value, prices locked in, and that'll be, I think that'll be good for him. And also,
that sounds pretty dope. I think for the most part, most of the people that watch our show are in that age range. So we giving y'all some dope information here for those of you who don't have that life insurance policy.
And one thing I want to say that a lot of people don't know, or a lot of people that's listening, they might do have life insurance policies, but make sure your policy has what's called the accelerated death benefit rider inside your policy. That thing is powerful, man. Have you ever heard of that?
I never heard of it. So you're going to have to school us on this. Like you schooling us as you're talking as well.
What about you, Kim? Before I told you earlier today, had you heard of the accelerated death benefit rider?
Nope.
Okay, well, every policy that I write has the accelerated death benefit rider included at no extra cost. And what it is if a person comes down with cancer, heart attack, have a stroke, or lose 2 of their 6 activities of daily living, then most of the companies will accelerate about 80% of that death benefit while you're living to help pay for any unexpected expenses you may have, or to help your quality of life for your last days on earth, or if you need like a organ transplant or something, and you just don't have the money, and you know how they might put you on the back of the list. Well, if I'm finna accelerate you 80% of a $200,000 policy, you got some options right there. Right. Give an example. I got a client right now down in Killeen, Texas. She came down with cancer. She came down with some type of breast cancer, right? So this was the options that the insurance company gave her. She got a $200,000 policy with me. The insurance company said, we'll cut you a check right now and let me back up. She's only had this policy not even a year yet. It'll be a year in November, right? This policy will be a year old in November. This is what the insurance company proposed to her. They said, we'll cut you a check right now for $65,000. Boom. Or we'll cut you a check for $35,000 and you can keep $100,000 of your death benefit. That's huge.
That's huge. That is. That's very huge.
Her premiums ain't nothing but about $60 a month because she's old. She's an older lady. She's like 59. But she ain't even paying the premiums for a year, and now she's finna get a tax-free check for $65,000 or $35,000 to keep $100,000 of her death benefit.
Hey man, listen. This is I see why I was introduced to it, but the depth in which you are speaking to it literally adds extra value to it, because I know there's AFLAC, there's things of that nature out there, but I don't know how all of it coincides, how all of it works. But to hear that, I mean, that's very beneficial for 59, 60-year-old woman or even a male.
Yeah. And because we never know when something like that might happen. We never know when we might get diagnosed. Now it triggers it if you come down with cancer, have a heart attack, have a stroke. How many people you know that done had mild strokes or mild heart attacks and didn't even expect it, healthy people, so gotta make sure you got that on your policy, man, that accelerated death benefit rider. And it's typically free.
Now, how many policies would you recommend one person have? Can they have multiple? Can they have term? Can they have permanent? Can they have one with you? Can they have one with another company? How does that work?
That's a good question. The thing that makes life insurance different than any other insurance is that you can have as many policies on you as you can afford. See, with health insurance, you can only have one policy. You can't have more than one policy, but with life insurance, however many you can afford, you can have. So right now, myself, I have 3 policies on myself. If a person wants to have a whole life policy and a term policy, you can definitely do that. If you want to get it set up where you have a 20 or 30-year term, but also have, a whole life policy to carry you after the term expires, you can definitely do that. So it's as many as you can, you know, whatever fits your budget, you definitely can have as many as you can, pay for.
I mean, I wouldn't tell nobody if I had a policy on me.
Well, I mean,
You can tell them
I
you
don't
got
watch forensic files too much.
You can tell them you got it. You just don't need to tell them how much. You know what I'm saying?
No, I only want Negroes to know. I don't watch forensic files too much.
Yeah, you know what? I hear you. I hear you. But the thing is, with the beneficiary, if they're not the beneficiary, they can't get any of the money no way. And nobody can even ask about your policy unless they are the owner or the beneficiary. So if that person ain't listening on that policy and they decide to do something foul to you, they just gonna have to worry about the popos because they ain't gonna get none of that money.
Facts.
And a big thing is, and I want everybody to know this too. When a married couple, when one of them passes away because of maybe murder or unexpected death, you know, they do look at that other spouse to make sure they haven't done nothing foul. So that is one thing too. It's not that quick of a, you know, they do want to make sure that, you know, the spouse didn't have nothing to do with it. So
that's pretty dope. You can cover yourself. You folks, you can get yourself covered out here, man. Taken care of. Make sure your babies is well taken care of. You know, you might got kids going to college. You know, whatever it may be. You know, so it sounds like some dope ideas out there we throwing at you guys tonight.
Yeah, and that's man. What point out too is that a lot of people worry about the life insurance and thinking about themselves all the time, but it's really not for you. It's for your family.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. It benefits your family more than anything, because all too often, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, when somebody passes away, especially unexpected, you know what I'm saying, like something just happens, a car accident or something like that, you know what I'm saying, people usually don't have money set aside for that, and they don't have insurance policies, and then we come with the GoFundMe's and things of that nature. So we don't want to have to worry about that when you can, you know, just like they said, insurance is in case something happens, you know what I'm saying, and you don't want something to happen and you don't have, you know, you stuck out there trying to beg and borrow and maybe even steal to
steal. That's true though, man.
You know, and you know, all too often, like I said, since social media has been around, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen GoFundMe's, and I just shake my head, because most of the time when I see a GoFundMe, it's a young person that, you know, that, you know, has parents or has loved ones around them, but nobody has thought about having insurance policies for a young person. So people got to understand that everybody needs to have some type of life insurance, whether they're a kid, whether they're an adult, whether you're a 20-year-old, you need to have some life insurance of some sort.
And one thing about it, man, it's so cheap. Our audience that you guys target is so cheap for them right now. Right. I have people all the time call me, you know, want to get insurance on their kids, and sometimes it don't even be $15. Sometimes it don't even be $10 a month, depending on how young the kid is, you know. So, you know, it's so inexpensive right now, but, you know, but one thing too, life insurance, like, you don't have to be passed away to have access to the money. There's a lot of other benefits besides, you know, you passing away to get the money. Like I was telling you guys about the accelerated death benefit rider. That's something big too. There's other things inside of a policy that's very beneficial too. Like with the index universal life policies, we can set that up in a way. Now I may have to come back on another episode and kind of break it down because it's going to take a while, but you can set up the index universal life policy in a way where it will provide tax-free income to you for the rest of your life. And I'm telling you right now, if I show you an index universal life policy, it'll blow the socks off of any 401k or any IRA that's out right now. And the main reason is because of the tax-free nature of the tax-free nature of life insurance. A lot of people don't know about the tax-free nature of life insurance.
Hey man, listen. Folks I'm tongue tied right now because listen, some of this stuff we just never heard before. This is like free game. This is information a lot of us have not heard before.
Yep.
Like with a 401k, people think that's the best way to save for retirement. But did you know your 401k, it's exposed to market vitality, you know? And then let's just say you do get to retirement age and you want to start accessing your 401k. Well, let's just say a person got $200,000 in their 401k. Well, when you get ready to get that money, Uncle Sam got to get his piece. You done saved all these years without Uncle Sam getting his part of your retirement income. Well, he gonna get it. He gonna start, with your 401k. He's got to get his piece before you get yours. And if a person got a 401k and they pass away, your family ain't finna get all that 401k because it hasn't been taxed. The thing about an index universal life policy is that their money grows tax-free because you've already paid taxes from the premiums that you're paying the policy on. So all the money that grows inside the cash value, you have that tax-free. So if you got $200,000 worth of tax of cash value, well, when you pass away, your family's getting that whole $200,000. Or if you want to take a loan against it, you can have it. It's yours.
Now, this question might seem a little strange, but what if you got a couple side pieces out there? This is for the brothers. You got a couple side pieces out there.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
A couple side pieces out there. Right. Can you put their name on the policy as the beneficiary and leave it as that? How does that work?
Well, it kind of depends, right? Because if you're married and you're in Texas, it's going to be kind of hard because if you're married, Texas is one of them states where, your spouse, has to be on the policy, right?
Right.
But if you're not married and we say you just cohabitating, then you can, put someone down as your spouse or fiance. Does that make sense? I got a guy right now.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
I got a guy right now who living with his old lady, you know what I'm saying? They're not married, but he hit me with the same question. He was like, "Hey, Donta, I got the little girl. She been down with me for all these years, man. I want to do a policy for her too." Right. I'm like, all right, cool, man. We did it. We wrote the policy. It got issued and everything. It was enforced until about 2 years ago, when I guess him and the girl, they broke it off. So I had to go ahead and cancel the policy.
Cancel that policy. I mean, hey, listen, these are real life questions, man. Like we want to give you the education, but we also want to give you the reality of the situation for a lot of folks. Some folks, you know what I'm saying? Like they, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be a little testy out here. You know what I'm saying? So
these are real life situations that you asking, man. And I've seen it all out here, because I'm a field agent. I like to go to a person's house.
Right.
And see it, man. And I've had a lot of situations unfold in front of me. Man, one of the funniest times was I was sitting with this guy in Cedar Hill, man, and he was married, right? I asked his wife, I was like, "Who you want your beneficiary to be?" Without a question, she said him. She said him without a question, right? So when I got to him, I was like, "Say, man, so who do you want your beneficiary to be?" He wanted to split it up between his current wife, his mother, and his baby mother. When I tell you his current wife, she got so mad. They started arguing right there in front of the kitchen table in front of me. So then they go in the bathroom, man, and I started hearing furniture moving. I was like, I was trying to go, man, because they in there scrapping, man. But I was able to come back about a week later and finish the policy. But man, there's a lot of stuff that
Hey, these are real life situations. These are things that we don't shy away from. We ask the tough questions. We ask the easy questions. We ask the ones that some, the novice can understand. So we want everybody to kind of get this info in the whole umbrella.
Yep. We got a couple of questions from YouTube again. We got Jasmine Patterson. She's asking, is it true that if something bad happens to you, homicide, police brutality, domestic violence, you're more likely to get justice if you have life insurance?
Man, that's a good question, Jasmine. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question because I've never I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that now hear me out. I do know that if more of us had life insurance policies and this police brutality kept going on and people kept dying, these insurance companies, I believe, would step in and say something because they'll be
Because
having
the
to pay these
policies will be
death
paid
claims.
out. Right.
Yeah. So right now, I don't know if you're likely to, well, that's a great question because you may be likely to get justice. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that if we as a people took this life insurance serious, and some of us do, but if a lot of us did get these policies and, you know, these senseless police killings kept happening, I believe these insurance companies would come in and say something because they'll get tired of paying these death claims, especially when the person ain't did nothing wrong and no evidence,
Right.
you know. So I think that would have, so that's one way we could get back at the man, because I know these insurance companies will get tired of paying these death claims.
What about a suicide? Are those aren't covered at all in life insurance, are they?
Not true. Not true.
Okay.
Okay, so every life insurance policy has what's called a 2-year contestability period. Now that's different than a 2-year waiting period, right?
Right.
It's a 2-year contestability period. So what that means is if anything happens to you within the first 2 years of that life insurance policy, that insurance company, they can contest that claim and not pay it out if they want to. So that's where if a person maybe lied on the application, said they were a non-smoker when they were a smoker and they died within the first 2 years, the insurance company can contest it. But after the first 2 years, there are some companies out there that will cover suicide. I know, I'm actually contracted with one or two of them. After the first 2 years, it's the contestability period is over.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, if you have a accidental death only policy, for sure they're not going to pay out. But there are some companies that do pay for suicide.
Pay out for.
Yeah, but it's got to be after 2 years.
Right.
After 2 years, man.
Okay.
That's a good
So
question.
we got another question too, from Walt Patterson again. YouTube, can you get a policy on someone without their knowledge? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question too, Mr. Patterson. All I'm gonna say on that is COVID.
folks out here getting. Listen, let me go on and get this little policy on. You know what I'm saying? You know, to keep that on the hush. You know what I'm saying?
I will. COVID has made things a lot easier for the insurance transaction to go down. It used to be when I first got into life insurance back in 2012, you had to be face to face with a person. You know, you had to be face to face, kneecap to get that policy done. But since COVID, there are what we call electronic applications. Now, are you supposed to do it? You're not supposed to do it. But are there agents out there that if you call them and be like, hey man, I want to get this policy on my mom. She tripping. She don't want to give me. She think that I'm trying to profit off of it, but really what I'm trying to do
death upon her. That type of thing.
You're trying to do that. So is there any way I can get a policy on her? So there are ways that it can be done, because nowadays with these life insurance companies, like I said, with COVID, we have what's called electronic signature. So boom, I'm sitting at my table, I'm typing the app up, and then when it's time for the signature, I send an email to you. Who knows who's on the other end of that email, you know?
True.
So can it be done? It can be done, but are you supposed to do it? You're not supposed to do it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it can't be done, because like I say, we got the electronic signatures. But then again, we go back to the 2-year contestability period where, you know,
it can be all contested, right?
If something happens in the first 2 years, they may, well, they can't tell who signed it, but you know, if they go back to see something in the health, they can deny that claim. But you can do it.
Now, with our folks, because I remember this was a question. I won't mention the names or anything like that, but I was in a situation with some family, and insurance, of course, came up. And the question was, is I don't want to talk about, or the response back was, is I don't want to talk about that because I feel like y'all are pushing death upon me. How often do you hear something like that among our folks or just in general?
All the time, man. And it's sad that we think that way, but we're really just trying to prepare. We're
Right.
really just trying to prepare for when someone leaves this earth, because like I know that, it costs a lot to bury someone. So we're not trying to
Yes.
wish death upon you, but a person is trying to prepare, because a lot of people don't have, $8,500 to $10,000 in their bank account to go towards, uh,
A funeral.
someone's funeral. And
Right.
that's why these insurance companies have, these final expense policies that'll just help take care of that financial burden if something do happen to a loved one, So that's, I have people calling me and a lot, trying to get policies on their mom or on their dad, and we get it done. But I hear that a lot though, and it's sad, but or check this one out. I've been in appointments where someone would be like, I ain't trying to make nobody rich, or ain't nobody give me no money when so and so died, or stuff like that. Why wouldn't you want to help one of your family members that's gonna survive? Why wouldn't you want to, make their life easier?
I think ultimately it goes back to the knowledge, not understanding the fruits of it first off. Because I've heard some of the weirdest stories. Now, I'm not even a pro at it, but kind of being around, older people predominantly for the most of my life, I saw some ups and downs pertaining to it. I saw the good in it. I saw the bad in it in terms of how we think. And I think ultimately it boils down to us just not knowing the benefits of it. We tend to think it's just about death. And it's not necessarily, you already mentioned that, it's not necessarily just about death. There's benefits while you are living, correct?
That's right, man. And like I say, we got the accelerated death benefit rider. That's great. The cash value of life insurance, that's big. There's riders on life insurance where if you get put into a nursing home, you don't have to pay any more of your premiums on your life insurance forever. That's a great benefit. It's a lot of different riders and stuff that you could put on your policy to help benefit you while you're living. Even some term, if someone is interested in a term policy, follow me on this one. If I could write a term policy on somebody and put a rider on there called return of premium. So what that does is, if a person outlives his term policy, they get all their premiums back. Every dollar that they spent on that term policy, if it's $50 a month, at the end of the term period, they get all their premiums back. Can you imagine? Wow. Can you imagine having a life insurance policy for the last 20 years, and then at the end of your term, you get a tax-free check for 30 grand? You can do whatever you want to do with that money.
Wow.
You can do whatever you want to do with it.
I think the habit is a lot of us, we've been conditioned to think, short term instead of long term. We want that instant gratification. Of course, the knowledge goes with it, but that instant gratification, J.G. Wentworth told us, it's my money. I want it now. And that's just how folks roll. You know what I'm saying? Right. So they don't think long term. They don't think 20 years, 30 years down the road, right?
A lot of us don't. And a lot of times when I do write that return of premium, see, I love talking to people who just bought a home, right? Or just recently bought a home, because that's where the mortgage protection life insurance comes in. And it's so many benefits to that. If I got a homeowner who just bought a home for the next 30 years, right? And I write them a 20-year term policy with return of premium, if they pass away at any point during their mortgage term period, boom, I bring their family a tax-free check to pay their mortgage off. They don't have to worry about another mortgage payment. But if they live if they live, I also bring them a tax-free check. Boom. Now I bring you a tax-free check. We'll just say for $30,000. Now you can pay your house off 10 years early because you put that rider on there with the return of premium.
Wow. Woo. Now, listen, man. Listen. This is a game changer, y'all. Like, y'all watching this, those of you watching this, you need to be sharing this with your kinfolk, your nieces, your nephew. Go talk to your cat, your dog. Get on this little thing and share it, man. Share it to your folks, man. We want to get this information out to you, all right? Because this is premium game.
No pun intended. Premium.
Yes,
right.
man.
We got another question from Stacy Hightower on YouTube. How difficult is it to get a life insurance if you have a pre-existing health issues? Then we kind of talked about that a little bit.
We talked about that earlier, right?
Give her a little bit of information.
Yeah. So the great thing about it, man, I can get anybody covered. It don't matter what condition you have. I've even wrote policies on people that have had AIDS or cancer, right?
Mm.
You can get a policy with pre-existing conditions. Now, what type of policy it is, it could differ. So if I'm sitting down with somebody who we're just going to use this for an example. If I'm sitting down with somebody who's on dialysis, right? Well, I can't get them a term or a universal life policy, but I can get them a whole life policy, right? If I'm sitting down with somebody who's had cancer in the last 5 years, I might not can get them a term policy, but I dang sure can get them a whole life policy, right?
Right.
But a lot of people think they can't get covered because they have diabetes. You can get covered with diabetes. You can get covered with high blood pressure. You can get covered with arthritis. You can get covered with it's a lot of things you can get covered from. So you can get a policy. It's just you just got to understand that you might not get the face amount that you want, but you still can get a policy.
So because that was going to lead into my question. So let's say I'm a 60-year-old. I got dialysis. I got a couple health conditions. Let's say I'm trying to get $100,000 policy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that feasible? Can that person do that? Does the amount lower? Would I have to look more into the 50,000, 30,000? How does that work?
Well, I got to be honest with you. You know, somebody on dialysis, yeah, I can definitely get them $100,000, but it's going to be costly, and it's going to be those type of policies with a 2-year waiting period.
Right.
It's going to be those type of policies with a 2-year waiting period. But just to give you an example, I got a guy right now in Temple, Texas, right? I went and sat down with him. He told me he was Mr. Fleming was, I think at the time he was 63. He told me that he wanted to get $100,000 on his. He wanted to get $100,000 policy, but he had cancer within the last 10 years, so he couldn't get a term. But he didn't care how much. He didn't care how much he had to pay. He wanted $100,000 for his wife if something happened to him. So I wrote him 4 $25,000 whole life policies, and now, right now, today, Mr. Fleming is covered and he's happy because if something happened to him, his wife knows she got $100,000 coming to her.
Hey, that's dope. That man loves his wife for sure.
He didn't care
what he
had
make sure
to pay.
She's taken care of in the event that he's gone.
He didn't care what he had to pay, and that policy is still on the books today. So you can. But I do get the person who do their expectations are a little bit flawed. You know, I do get the occasional, like you said, 60-year-old with health conditions who want $100,000, but they don't want to pay over $100 a month for it. And I got to be like, well, come on, man. I mean,
this is risky business right here. We talking about $100,000, brother. You're gonna have to give me at least $200, $250.
You got to give me something because the insurance company they around to make money. You know, they ain't trying to lose money. So we might have to. So in that situation, I might have to drop the face amount down to maybe $50,000 or something like that. So I'll do whatever I can to get it to fit a person's budget, you know?
Yeah. See, they got to understand. The older they get, the higher they name get on Jesus' list. And
you didn't say that.
the lower the money. You know what I'm saying? the
that's
higher
true,
the
man.
amount of monthly premium they're gonna have to pay. So there's some fluctuations in that, but like Dante said, he can get you what you need as long as you can, as long as you're willing to pay the amount, he can make it happen for you. So that's dope. That is dope.
The benefits on these, man, are legit. This is worth you going, sharing this, sending this to your folks' inbox, sending this live to them, letting them know so they can watch this, because this is information I think you should be able to use.
Yep, we got a comment from you too. Heather Davis said, "I wish this information was taught in high school and colleges." 100% facts.
Agreed.
Facts. We got classes on geometry and all this other stuff that we don't use real life application, but none of this stuff that teaches us about life insurance, that teaches us about credit and things of that nature when we in high school. So when we get out in the real world, we screw it up because we just don't know, and we have to learn by default. You know what I'm saying? By messing stuff up, and then we actually get it. But fortunately for us, we're at an age now where we talked about this before. I mean, sadly, that a lot of young black men don't think they're gonna make it past 21.
Yeah,
we've done that plus now. So it's like, okay, now we at a stage where we should know better. We should function with
in your 40s now. You should have life insurance. You should have all types of stuff in the event. Like, yeah, you should be covered.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
We got to stop relying on this job insurance, right? We got to stop relying on just having life insurance through our job, because I sit with people every day, 65 years old, 70 years old, just retired from their job, and then just found out that the life insurance they had on their job, they can't keep it. Or if they do keep it, it's going to be astronomically more high than what they were paying when they were working. So I like to sit down. I like to talk to people and let them know the importance of having insurance outside your job, right? For one, you can get it locked in at a good age, and then if you leave that job, or that job goes out of business, or you retire, or you get hurt and you lose all your sick days and you end up losing your job because you've been off work for a year or two, at least you can keep that life insurance. And a lot of people think that they're good just because they got it at their job. But I'm here to tell you, man, if you're not working at a lot of these jobs, you can't keep that life insurance.
They won't cover it.
Yeah. You can't keep it for that amount. So if you got it at work, that's great, and it's cheap. So keep that. But I would challenge you to look at getting a policy outside of work, because I'm telling you, I sit with people all the time, 60s and 70s, even in their 50s, thinking that they can get, a good policy, but they're at an age, or they got a health condition where they can't even get a good policy. So that's something important too.
Get in that baby early, and remember, you get in, if you're paying for 20 years, you get the right policy, that money comes back to you tax-free. Are we right there, Dante?
Well, yeah. Well, you have to get it's a rider called return of premium. A lot of insurance companies don't offer that anymore, but I have two right now that still offer it. But it's called return of premium. It's a great benefit. You pay on that policy 20, 30 years. At the end of it, you get every penny that you put into it, you get it back. Every penny. And we're talking about, I've seen people that's getting back 30, 40, 50 grand, What a
hey,
gift,
man,
right?
That's solid right there.
Yeah.
Long-term investment is what I hear when we're dealing with life insurance. This is a long-term investment. It can benefit you in the short term in a situation, but overall, long-term, cover yourself in both aspects.
I know I was going to ask you too, bro. What's the most difficult thing about working in this field? Because it seems like the conversations that you have to have are some tough conversations with people, bro. And it's real life, you know what I'm saying, going on. And a lot of it, some of it does involve death. So how do you, how do you have those type of conversations with people?
And I got to tell you, that's a great question, Ken. Life insurance is an emotional sale. I have to tap into a person's emotions, man. I have to ask them questions like, you know, Ken, well, I don't want to use you, but I have to ask a person like, you know, what would that look like if you didn't make it home tomorrow? You know, how would that impact your kids? You know, you're the primary breadwinner. Okay, well, if you don't make it home tomorrow, okay, boom, you got a little bit of money in the bank, but how that's gonna look 6 months from now? You know, you have to ask those. You've got to ask questions to pull at a person's emotions. You know, because this is an emotional sale. You know, it's emotional because you got to paint the picture of how it's gonna look. You have to say things like, you know, hey Jimmy, you know, let me, you know, let me make sure I'm hearing you right. So you're saying that, you know, if you're coming home from work one day and you know what I'm saying, it's a regular day, you're coming home from work and you get hit by a semi truck, you know, are you telling me that the last thing that you want your spouse to worry about when the when the policeman comes to her door with your license and show her your license and tell her what happens? Are you saying that the last thing that you want her to think about is a place is for her to have a roof over your head? You know, I got to break it down to people like that. Got to paint the picture that, you know, how it might happen.
Right.
You know, and it's very uncomfortable, man. I've had people downplay it, but you know, it can get uncomfortable in some of these appointments when you
It's reality, man. It's everyday life. People are dying. People die every day. So I think as we've matured, thank God for the mature folks around us that aren't afraid to have those hard conversations. Ken mentioned something to the tune of that just recently. Not having the fluffy conversations, man. We got to get out of those. We got to have the hard conversations. You got to sit down and have those. And I think life insurance is part of that hard conversation.
I think it is too, man.
It definitely is. So Donta, what does it feel like to get up every day and, you know, do something that you're passionate about, help folks out?
Man, you know, I'm really passionate about this life insurance, man, and it feels when I write a policy, man, you know, it makes me feel like, you know, uh, another family has been reached, you know, another family has been touched by, you know, me, and if something happens to that family, you know, I give them social media, I give them my email, I give them everything, you know, I even do what's called an emergency response system where I can call, you know, 2 or 3 of their closest people to let them know what we did here today. For the simple fact, if that person do pass away, I want to be there to help their death claim be paid out, you know.
Right.
And I got to tell you this, Ken, that's a great question, because I didn't know the power of what I did until I had my first death claim. When I had my first death claim and I had to help that lady, you know, fill out the death claim paperwork, you know, because her husband passed away unexpectedly. When I saw the gratitude that she had when she was able to get the death claim, man, it let me know that that's making a difference, man. It really does make a difference, you know. So I feel good about it. I just wish that, you know, people would look at the benefits more than look at the cost of it, because I'm telling you, it don't have to be expensive, man.
Right.
It don't have to be expensive.
Man, these people out here, they worried about the wrong thing. They out here buying Birkin bags and
Right.
exclusive jewelry and don't have life insurance. So that's the crazy part. And I think if we just keep drilling it into people, the importance of it, and people start seeing the benefits of it, and like you said, the cash value piece of it, a lot of people just lack the knowledge of, you know, what it's for, what it's about, its actual benefits. And that's why we're here today and talking about this subject and getting this necessary information to let people know what it's all about so they can make an informed decision when it comes down to it. Because there's a lot of stuff that Donta has talked to me about over the years, and it made me go back to my job and double check my insurance policies and get insurance policies outside of work and things of that nature. So, I mean, the conversation's got to be had. And for me as a dad, like, I wouldn't want to leave my wife and my kids, you know, out here looking crazy if something happens to me. And that's the last thing I want. I want them to have to be worried about. Like my dad left me out here. He left me with all these shoes. And
well, I mean, you can sell them shoes now. You put them joints on the marketplace and make, never know. But yeah,
but I don't want them to have to be worried about that stuff, man.
Right.
I want them to be taken care of. So that's what it really boils down to, is not only taking care of yourself and knowing the benefits for yourself, but knowing the benefits for your family as well, because that's 9 times out of 10 who is going to benefit the most, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. So,
and get out of that scared mentality, man. Like you got to get out of this mentality that, you know what I mean? Like life insurance isn't good for you. We're not wishing death upon you. We're trying to get you in proper setting so that you can, I mean, like I said earlier, Charleston White daddy left him some money.
Charleston White, yeah,
you hear me? Charleston White daddy left him $20,000. So
we know Charleston White got life insurance because and stuff he be doing.
He might need it. He might need it.
He definitely need
it. He better have some insurance.
Yeah, he might need it, man. But that's 100% right, man. And another thing, man, getting a policy on your children, man, that's big too. It's so cheap. You could get a policy on your kids, man, for $6-7. And right. It's not about profiting from when your child passes away, but you do want to grieve properly. And if you ain't got no policy on them, how you gonna grieve properly? We watch the news every day. Young kids, fatalities happening to them. So I mean, it's right here for everybody. We just gotta, wise up and make that choice.
Right.
So what's
make that put that baby on automatic and don't even think about it.
Don't even think about it. Automatic draft.
Yeah.
So what's your ultimate goal, man? What do you see yourself doing as a whole? I know you got bigger and better plans than just doing what you're doing exactly right now, like opening up your own business, or I mean, what do you see yourself doing?
Man, I love life. I like doing life insurance, but I can do this for another 20 years, man. It pays good. I don't even know if I want to open up my own agency, man. I'm an independent sales. I'm an independent broker, man.
Okay.
So I could do this until I'm in my 70s, man, because the pay is good. And once, I can control my schedule and I don't have a lot of overhead, and I don't even know if I want the headache of opening up an agency. Right. So right now, man, all I do, man, is I sell life insurance. I do write annuities, and I do write Medicare policies. And the residuals on these, they're building up. I could do this forever.
Right.
Okay.
Because I don't. And now with technology, sometimes I don't even have to leave the house if I don't. If somebody wants me to. I've sold policies to people I haven't even seen before. We just do it all over the phone. Boom, and then here come my deposit 2 or 3 days later. And one thing about it, man, is the freedom, man. I really don't, I like being able to take my daughter to school every day, man. I take her to school in the morning, man. That's important to me.
That's dope, man.
I like being able to go to her events, whatever, So the hardest thing about this business is, finding people to talk to, but that's why you can buy leads. So we just gonna keep it going, man.
Yeah, hey, I dig that. My last question for you, if it could be, I guess would be my last question is how did COVID affect it and compared to previous, before COVID, after COVID? How did that affect it? What changed? What happened? Did anything change, or how did that work?
Well, before COVID, we had to mostly, like I said, go see the client. COVID has made it a little bit easier with doing applications with the guidelines, because now we can do it remotely if we want to. But I really don't like doing it remote if I don't have to, because I like to meet the person and build that relationship, if that makes sense.
Right.
Another thing that COVID did, it made people want to get insurance. Made people want to get life insurance because they seen that it was real and people were dropping dead. it had even got to the point where COVID was so big that before COVID, they didn't even ask that on a life insurance application. But then insurance companies started asking it.
They had to, right? We got a new disease or something here, right?
That's right, man. They started asking, have you had COVID in the last 30 days or symptoms like that? So, man, you know, it on one hand, I think it helped us because it made us now where we don't have to, if you don't want to drive to everybody, you want to sell virtually, now you can sell virtually, you know, I think it made it a little bit, you know, better for us in that aspect. So COVID was a blessing in disguise, you know, but then too, sometimes clients, they know that, you know, you don't have to come see them. And so that's what was hard about it. It was getting in people's homes during COVID because some people didn't want you to come to their homes.
Yeah.
So now you're trying to, you know, protect them over the phone. And if you give them a quote that's too high, well, you might not hear from that person again. Versus
yeah, I'm good, bro.
Versus if I'm in
the definition of ghosting.
Yeah. So, you know, they go into the witness protection program, you know. But now, you know, if you're in their home, it's not that easy to get rid of you. So it's good and bad. So, man, I'm just gonna keep my head down and keep trying to work, man, and keep doing what I do, man, and keep trying to provide good service to people. Because I see if you provide good service to people, they'll stick around, man. I got a lot of people that I done wrote multiple policies on, you know. So we're gonna keep it like that.
Okay, we got one more question from YouTube. Nadia G, is $100,000 policy the standard amount for life insurance?
I don't know if that's a standard amount, but that is what most people, when they ask me for a quote, they want about 100,000. You know, a lot of people do ask for 100,000. But then again, it goes back to their age and health, because I got some companies, man, where I might can get you 200,000 for what you were gonna pay for that 100,000, you know.
Right.
And then it goes into, you know, that's why I try to ask good questions about your kids and what's the purpose of this insurance? Is it for, you know, we got to find out why do you want it, you know. But 100,000, I probably have more $100,000 policies and $10,000 policies on the books than any other amount.
Okay,
makes sense.
So before we get up out of here, is there any advice or anything motivational you want to leave the audience with before we leave?
Man, you know, just you know, we got to stay woke, man. We got to stay woke, and we got to, you know, try to do what's best, you know, for our community and for our families, man. You know, you don't have to get it from me. I would love for you to get it from me, but get it from somebody, man, because life insurance is important, man. And like we said earlier, it's more than just a death benefit. I would love to maybe come back on here one day and talk to you guys about this tax-free retirement, because a lot of people don't know about the power of the cash value of life insurance, and how if you set it up properly, you could turn that into an income stream for the rest of your life, man. It's crazy, and it blows the socks off of any 401k or any IRA. It's got so many benefits, and you know, I just that's about it, man. You know, I just want us to stay woke and stay on top of it, man.
I love this. I love this interview. This was dope. This was eye opening. This gave me some very pertinent information.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, bro, and we'll definitely have you back on to talk more in depth about the other benefits, because people definitely need to know this information. But as we say always, man, we ain't gonna give you everything. This man got a business.
Yeah.
He got contact information in the comments. So if y'all scroll up, y'all can get his contact information and y'all can call and talk to him, because this man gets paid for what he does.
Reach in your pockets and give me all your money.
We can't give you all the game. We can't give you all the game in one time. This man you heard him say he got a daughter. He got mouth.
Yeah, he got it. She gonna want her hair done. You know what I'm saying? Nails done. You know what I'm saying? Nails done, hair done, everything done.
Yeah, it did.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Reach in your pocket. Now, don't make me go Sunday offering on y'all. Reach in your pockets and spend some money.
Like, the contact information is in the comments on the different sites, on the different outlets that we have that you're viewing it on. So if you can just scroll up in the comments, you'll find that information, and you can reach out to Donta and lock in the session so he can come and have a conversation with you.
Hit that email. Go check your boy out. You might need that. I'm in Cali, so maybe he can still help. I don't know how the license work from back and forth, but maybe we can still get some help to our Cali folks, to our Texas folk, to our Florida folk, to our New York folk, wherever you at.
Yep.
We can get you in the right direction.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you, Mr. Williams. Y'all, it's been a great informative session. Mr. Williams, salute, sir. We appreciate you.
Y'all have a good one, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. For sure, man. That was dope, man.
Man,
that was dope. That was crazy. We got some information. I'm about to go back and rewatch this joint.
I just was thinking the same thing. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it too, and I'm gonna have to call my boy, because we gotta have a conversation, because it's a lot of stuff that he said tonight that we've had conversations before about it, but like he said, he truly doesn't like bug you or anything about trying to get the life insurance from him. He just wants you to have life insurance, which I do have life insurance through my job and outside life insurance. So that's not even an issue, but you never can have enough. And
you can have more than one policy.
Yeah, and I want to get into some of this cash value stuff and some of this investment stuff.
Yeah, you better believe it. Y'all know for us 40-year-old black males, 42, 43. I mean, listen. This is dope. This could work.
Anything that can make me money that doesn't involve me standing on the street corner, I'm in.
I mean, put somebody else on the street corner, but me on the street corner?
No, sir. We will not. We will not. We will not advocate that on this show.
What's up, baby? Check me out.
But y'all, we appreciate y'all tuning in every week. We gonna come with something beneficial to you. As we always say, we put the medicine in the candy. We're gonna entertain you, but we're gonna also give you something informative. And this week we got something special for you all as well, because we have another episode that'll be live tomorrow.
We come back tomorrow. And listen, you don't want to miss tomorrow. You don't. I'm just telling you, if you
don't want to miss any of the episodes.
You don't. But I mean, since this episode is pretty much already over, we got to talk about you not missing the next show, because we're coming back. We back to back, and we Shaq and Kobe on this joint. What we doing?
Yeah, we definitely Shaq and Kobe, because if you see us in public, you're definitely thinking Shaq and Kobe anyway. So
I mean, I'm just saying. So what? Tall and short, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take the hard buckets. You know what I'm saying? It's all right.
Or Jordan and Muggsy Bogues, whichever one you want.
I mean, it's okay. Muggsy still made it to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? You can still get that cross.
He did, y'all. Hey, y'all, we appreciate y'all. My guy Benji, talk to the people before we get up out of here.
What's going on? You know me. It's your boy. Go follow your boy on IG, BRB4701. That's where we're running all our business, putting all our stuff, taking care of everything on there. We're finding all of our people, trying to get everybody, whoever's on the show. We're doing all our business over there. You can find me on Facebook. That's where we clown around. That's where we have fun. That's where we, pontificate a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So we want to make sure you understand that. Go check us out on both. You can't miss me, Benji Banks. You can't miss me. I mean, I know there's some people out there that stole my name. You know what I'm saying? But it's my name, okay? All right? You can't help but miss me. I'm in the cover photo. You know what I'm saying? You'll see my name there, my signature. You'll see me on there. So gotta go check your boy out.
Facts. Y'all already know y'all can catch me at Big Ken's Comedy on IG, Big Ken's Comedy on Twitter, Big Ken's Comedy on Facebook. Y'all can catch the Fiyah session on all social media platforms. Just hit that search bar, type in FIYAH session, and we'll pop right up. y'all like and subscribe to the pages, follow the pages. Go to YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and handle that now.
That notification.
Hit that little bell so you can get the notifications when we go live, when we have new content posted, because we're growing as an audience. And we also take suggestions from people. So if we have topics or something like that you want to hear us talk about, or that you want to have a guest on, and you think it's somebody that you would like to see us interview, hit us up.
Hit us up. But listen, don't be scared of listen, if you're scared of the camera, don't be trying to dance all in the show like Diddy. You know what I'm saying? If you can't talk, don't be up in the inbox. You know what I'm saying? Talking about, yo, can I take me out? Can I be on the show? Bro, like, you stutter like every 3 words. All we gonna do is make fun of you the entire show.
Hey, I didn't say that. Those are Benji's words.
Yes.
If you think you want to be on the show, you have something great to talk about, hit us up. But just be warned, we do properly vet people that are coming on the show. We don't have anybody that wants to be on the show coming on the show, because we want our audience to get credible people who know what they're talking about in front of them. And we pride ourselves on that. So we just don't bring anybody on the show. But
and one of my requirements, I mean, Patricia ain't here today, but she know we pontificate back and forth on it. You can't be muggly, okay?
This guy.
I'm just saying. I mean,
hey, yo.
Listen, folks got to look at you on screen. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying.
All right, y'all, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like we said, y'all tune in tomorrow for another live episode. We got Miss Shay Cook joining us.
Yeah, Body the Curvy Way.
Yeah, it'll be very entertaining, I promise you, and informative. So tune in tomorrow as well. We appreciate y'all. Y'all already know how we do it. It's the Fiyah Session. Peace.
Deuces.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fiyah Session. Follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fiyah Session.